Hey everybody, welcome back to Hot Rod's Recipes. I'm Rodney. Today I'm going to show you how to make carnitas in your slow cooker. If you're not familiar with carnitas, it's basically Mexican pulled pork used for tacos, burritos, put it on nachos, or even make a sandwich out of it. Sound good? Let's get started. All right, so the first step is to make our seasoning for the carnitas. Add some chili powder, garlic powder, cumin, paprika, crushed red pepper flakes, and finally some ground cinnamon. Let's give this a good whisk here. All right, so we got this ready to go. The next step will be to apply the seasoning to the pork butt. So now that the seasoning is done, it's time to apply it to the pork butt. Now I've already taken the liberty here of cutting it into chunks, if you will. Mine was a bone-in, so some of the pieces are a little bit smaller. If you get a boneless, it'll be a little bit easier, but I've also removed a lot of the fat, especially hard fat. You want to get rid of that real hard, fatty stuff, but it's okay to leave some. As you can see, you want to leave some fat because fat is flavor and it'll help keep things moist and juicy. So we're going to use all of the seasoning here. So I'm going to dump about half of it to start and put that to the side. And I want to make sure to coat every piece of pork with the dry rub. And the other important thing is use all the dry rub. Don't skimp, don't think it's too much, too little, whatever. Don't modify, use all of it. And let's just give this a little coat on all sides here. As you can see, there's some on the bottom, so once we start putting the pieces in the crock pot, we'll want to get a lot of that seasoning out of the bottom of the bowl. So here we go. I like that the way it is. And now it's time to get this pork, as well as all the other ingredients, into the slow cooker. All right, so with the meat seasoned, I'm gonna layer the meat in the bottom of my slow cooker. Make sure you pick up any leftover seasoning. You want this to be heavily seasoned. All right, so there's the meat. Next, I'm going to add some sliced up onions. I like to add more than I really should, but that's okay. Everything will cook down here. Then I'm going to squeeze an orange. You gotta have citrus in your carnitas. And then I'm just going to dump these in here. And finally, I'm going to pour some chicken broth in the bottom, about 2 cups. If you notice that it looks like it's steaming hot, that is because I use Better Than Bouillon for this recipe this time around. And now with all the ingredients in and ready to go, we are going to put the lid on and cook this bad boy for, I guess I'm going to check it at about the 4-hour mark. Depending on your slow cooker, in a lot of environments, it could take anywhere from 4 to 8. We're going to want to cook this until all the pork is fork tender so it can easily shred. All right, so it's been a good 4.5, 5 hours. of cooking in the slow cooker, so let's check the pork for tenderness. That's looking pretty tender. And boy, does it smell good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple of forks to shred some of this up. And then we're going to place it on a baking sheet and broil it so we can get some of the crispy ends that we all love when it comes to carnitas. So let's give this a go. I'm not going to bore you with all the details here because you guys know how to shred. Okay, so I got most of the pork shredded to the way I like it, little chunky, little shredded, and I place it on a foil lined baking sheet. And now what I'm going to do is use some of the leftover sauce from the bottom of the crock pot and pour it all over the pulled pork. You don't want it to dry out when it's broiling, so this is a good way to keep everything moist and packed full of flavors. There we go. A little bit more. So now that I got it coated, it is time to broil it for 3 to 5 minutes depending on your oven so that the edges get crispy. All right, now look at this goodness. Here we have the carnitas after I've broiled it for about 3 to 4 minutes. It looks absolutely fabulous. If you've ever had carnitas before, this is the way to make your own carnitas at home in your slow cooker. Next, we are going to assemble our tacos. Stay tuned. All right, now that our meat is cooked, let's put together our tacos. So first up is a little Mexican rice. You know what? I'll drop you a link in the description for my homemade recipe for Mexican rice. And now let's put some of our carnitas we just made. And finally, let's garnish with a little bit of cilantro. I don't want to add too much to this because I want to taste the meat. If you've enjoyed this recipe, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Thank you.